Leaders fundamentally are willing to take risks. Okay? Without aptitude for risk, one cannot be a leader. If one is waiting for someone else, it's not going to happen. More than ever today in life, domain expertise matters. In anything you do, you want to be a speaker? Be very good at it. You want to be a technologist? Be very good at it. Okay? You cannot do what we call foo-foo stuff anymore. Those jobs are gone. Today the jobs are either you serve tables in restaurants or you do high-end stuff, because everything else will slowly get replaced by machines. Learning. We're all in the knowledge business, and I can tell you this, the learning never stops. And learning is something as a continuous journey, and there has to be a curiosity to learn. There are 2 seats here, there's one there, there are a few there. People skills, networking and collaboration, they're 3 separate things. I'll touch upon that. And ultimately you have to execute whatever you had intended to. So let's talk about vision and strategy. In order to get vision on anything we want to achieve, fundamentally deep down we need clarity. We need clarity about what is it that we want to do. And that requires to a large extent perspective thinking. So it's okay once in a while to do nothing and just dream, or once in a while to just look out of the window or go on long walks or go to the beach. Do it. Don't consume yourself looking at a stimulus, whether it's Facebook, whether it is television, whether it is something that's just constantly bombarding you with stimulus. So one needs time to reflect, and one should not be just busy in life. If one is busy, you cannot get vision. Okay? Purpose. One has to have a purpose. Why am I doing this? What's the point of it? Where am I going? And these things change over time. It's perfectly fine. One tends to do different things in life, and that's the fun part. And does this bring any value? Whether you're thinking about a business idea or whether you're thinking about how can you contribute to society, does this bring value? What's the point of it? Please come. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seats, and there's one with a backpack which you can move. Ability to inspire. How many think this is important? That's it? Okay, we have a few hands here. No food in the hostel today? Like hands are going up like this, you know. Okay, how many think it's hard to do? It's one of the hardest things to do in life. I've tried inspiring my kids. It hasn't gone anywhere. Hasn't gone anywhere. And you know how the face, daddy, all that, the usual stuff, right? It's very, very hard. And so the question is, how do you rally people behind vision? Turns out that you need to be a good communicator. You cannot do anything without being able to communicate. That requires writing, requires verbal communication, and there are 2 types of communications. You need to know how to write an email. Many times we reply to an email which says lunch, and we say lunch. And somewhere in this we say we cannot make it to lunch today, sorry. And then somewhere in the bottom we say, by the way, I submitted the project, it's already done. They are 2 separate things. Write another email. Email is for the receiver, not for the sender. And today I get 150 emails a day. The only way I survive is to do a search based on subject field or something else. There's absolutely no other way I can survive. This happens in the corporate world too, in top companies including Microsoft. There's 1 seat there. The rest of you can just sit on the hallway, I think. There's 1. Okay? So that I call a transactional email. Storytelling. How many know how to tell stories? Seriously. You are in serious trouble. Serious trouble. Listen. You went to mom when you were kids and said what? Mommy, tell me a story. Grandma, tell me a story. Somewhere along the line you forgot, and it's become a PowerPoint world. Let me tell you a secret. You're not alone. People in corporate America don't know how to tell stories. You're not alone. The sooner you do it, the better off you are. Get trained, get coached, practice. Practice, 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 practice storytelling. Stories do matter because all humans understand only stories. We are still cave people deep down, even though we have technology. Storytelling is one of the greatest attributes of leaders. Can you name a leader who can't tell a story? Name one. Sorry, you're mumbling. That is why he is a leader by title. And that's not a leader. We all know the misery of that one. I think if you read today's Washington Post, you'll know what happened. Okay, it's pretty bad news. So storytelling, and I actually coach people on storytelling, believe it or not. So how can you improve your communication skills? What can you do? What tools exist that by which you can do it? Come on, there must be some tools you can use. Tools are available. All of you actually carry it, or most of you carry it. What is that? Anecdotes, yeah. What else? How do you know, how do you improve your communication skills? What can you do? You can talk to friends, yeah. What else? Sorry? Yeah, you can argue. How? What would you do? Let's say I'm not a good communicator. What should I do? Sorry? Yes, you have video cameras in your phone. Record yourself. Record yourself in the video camera in your phone. Does that work? No? You can record yourself. Anything you want to communicate, you can record yourself, right? Yeah? I need to hear something. I'm a feedback kind of a guy. Okay, next Janma I'll be a robot, but not in this one. Okay? So aptitude for risk. You see, the challenge for a CEO or for leaders is many times there isn't enough data. We like to make decisions of data. Okay, that's usually the right way to do it. But oftentimes there is no data. And therefore you go with your gut feel or intuition and you take a bet. Because one is at a crossroads. Whether it is Steve Ballmer thinking what should we do, hardware versus software like Apple has done, or whether it is someone else thinking should we go to the cloud versus not go to the cloud, or whether even in a family decision you don't know which way to go, whether it's a career transition, many times you don't have the data. So you have to take risks and live with it. It's good to get as much data as possible, but not always is the data available. Whether to raise interest rates, whether to reduce interest rates. Okay, Manmohan Singh himself is an analyst. So typically we have seen in the world, economists are not prime ministers and presidents because they ultimately look at models and risk mitigation. But he was a good number two to somebody like Rajiv Gandhi. And Rajiv Gandhi said, okay, we need a telecom revolution. I don't know how to do it. Or Kennedy said, let's go to the moon. I don't think he knew how to do it. But it happened. So that's why you need to be able to take risks and say, go. Domain expertise, I think I touched upon that earlier. You see, in the United States right now, I think there are 4 million jobs they cannot fill. And there's huge unemployment. I think some 13 million people are unemployed. But they cannot fill 4 million jobs. So I can speak for computer science. There's a huge demand for computer science engineers who are top-notch. Business analytics, people who are good in algorithms, people who are good in top-notch user interfaces, and we can't find them. Okay, there's a mismatch of skills. All the typical Java programming and the regular manufacturing is going to China or India. At the same time, the high-end manufacturing and special designs, there aren't enough people to do that. Top petroleum engineers are not available in the United States. Top chemical engineers are not available in the United States. So the future of work and the future of opportunities is going to be specialization, 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 specialization. You have to be very good and reinvent yourself. What's the one place where somebody has to reinvent themselves constantly? In which industry? If you think about it. Yeah, what industry? How about Bollywood and Hollywood? Do you think they have to reinvent themselves? Amitabh Bachchan is a good example. He was middle-aged after the movie Coolie, he didn't have a job. and he was too old to be a hero. And he had lost money because of his financial investments going nowhere. Okay, he had ABC, which is some investment company, and then some other things. He lost a lot of money, and he said finally one director gave him an opportunity. And he reinvented himself as a middle-aged guy and an elderly person. Okay? So, in my view, the future of work is going to be such crack teams, many of them remote, virtually assembled with subject matter experts like the Netflix thing, will make things happen. It's going to be within organizations, across the world, across communities. So, if you're good at something, keep at it. But you need to have core versus context. You understand this, all of you? You got to be deep, at the same time you have contextual information about what you're doing. It doesn't hurt if you're studying genetics for you to know how it might be used in search algorithms for pattern recognition. It doesn't hurt. So that is why you need to talk to people who are in other fields. Ability to learn. You think you're done with IIT and you get a 65 lakh salary in Facebook? It's only the beginning. It's only the beginning because the pressure is on you because they gave you 65 lakhs of rupees. So the expectations are very high. Very, very high. And those of us who are getting older, I am scared of being a dinosaur and irrelevant. I'm scared. Every day I wake up thinking I'm irrelevant. Let me tell you a story. When I was in UT Austin, went from IIT, I was in the computer room in the basement, and at that time we had what is known as IBM machines, mainframes, and the monitors were called 3270 monitors. They were like terminals. They were not PCs. And we used to, we had to connect, and we had to do, we had the ability to do not email or anything like that. And then VAX 11 780 machines came along, and these were Unix machines. So there we were able to have workstations, and we were doing email, we were doing Usenet for community groups and so on, similar to Google Groups now. And I saw these older people, gray-haired people, they were petrified because they could not communicate with each other, and all they could do was send faxes. I remember this even today. I was 22 years old. And today I'm 52 years old. And I was scared that I'm going to miss out on the Facebook revolution. I'm going to miss out on blogging. I'm going to miss out on LinkedIn. I'm going to miss out on the social networks. And I wake up every morning scared that I'll become irrelevant. And so I surround myself with people who educate me on this. And it's very, very easy today to become irrelevant. So we have to reinvent ourselves, and that's what actors do to their credit, the good ones. So people skills plus collaboration and networking. There's a lot in there. You have to figure out in life, and I'll touch upon this a little later, how to make 1 + 1 11. 1 + 1 = 2 is okay, it's intellectually worthwhile. 1 + 1 = 0 happens all the time, you agree? -1, you agree? Okay? Collaboration matters because there are only 24 hours in a day. Our ability to take our intellectual ability and to actually execute on that is constrained. We can actually intellectualize a lot more, but our capacity is limited. That is why we need to surround ourselves with other people. And networking. You're students today, but you need to belong to certain social groups for social reasons. You also need to belong to certain domain expertise groups. Are you guys in any of the groups? Across universities. Nothing prevents you from being in a group in some other university. Nothing prevents you from talking to folks in MIT. Today, nothing prevents you if you're interested in something. Anybody does that? You talk to people in other universities? Who's that? Good. BTech, anybody? Do it. Do it. That's what people do. That's what people do across the world. That's what the Chinese do because they don't speak English. They collaborate and collaborate. That's what they do. Okay? Now you guys are great. Okay? I mean, you have the IIT brand. You're going to get good income.